Hey guys, it's Hyphae and welcome to Hyphae Worlds. So this video is really an introduction to my channel and to myself. So who is Hyphae? What is Hyphae? And what is Hyphae World about? And looking at that from a scientific lens, from a personal lens, and seeing how things come together and how everything is connected. So, hyphae from a scientific lens is the single thread that makes up mycelium, which is where mushrooms come from. And it's also the mycelium network is a place where nutrients are transported, water is transported and stored, and it's really a backbone for soil health and biodiversity. And as an environmental scientist, this just is something that I've studied a lot and plays a huge role in my journey because the archetype of Hyphae is really something that serves the greater system. And I've always kind of seen how I embody that myself, and it's become something that I really strive to embody and always admire. So I was first exposed to mushrooms back in 2017, 2018, actually through a foraging experience. So I was lucky to be in the company of a lot of ecologists and people that were studying environmental science, and we were out on a hike, and they had a very confident ID that a mushroom that we found was edible. It was actually chicken of the woods mushrooms. And just as a disclaimer, I do not advise you to go out and eat or collect anything from the woods and eat it plant wise or mushroom wise without an expert around you. But I was lucky to be in the company of that, and that experience of collecting the mushroom and cooking it over a fire that night really just set off a light bulb for me. I was like, wow, you can eat food from the woods, and this is incredible. I need to find out more about this, which led me to deepening my knowledge in mycology, which is the study of mushrooms. And at the time, I was studying for a mechanical engineering degree, and after I finished that up, I actually moved over to Oregon, which, if you know, you know, it's a great place for mushroom foraging and to find out more about mushrooms because it rains there a lot of the year, and mushrooms love the rain. And it also has so many beautiful ecosystems and such a variety of ecosystems to explore, where there's just like so many different microclimates and things growing. So, during that time, I was working as an engineer doing research in alternative energy systems, but I was spending a lot of time in the woods and learning more about mycology. I was also spending a lot of time on farms, volunteering on farms and in gardens because I was deeply curious about food systems. And I was always really curious about food systems. Like when I was young, when I was a kid, I would look at, two carrots and be like, why does this carrot taste like this and this carrot like this? Or how is this stuff even getting on our plate? I was always curious about that as a kid. And as I learned more about mycology, I naturally was learning more about soil and just how everything is connected. Um, so I ended up going back to school, applying to schools to study environmental science and applying for grants because I was really not about to go to school unless it was going to be funded. And I had the dream of being paid to research more about the soil and how to repair it and all of its magic that it holds. So I applied for a grant to study and produce biochar, which is this kind of charcoal material that you can make from any biological feedstock or most biological feedstocks. You can make it out of things like corn husks or different types of wood. And it's a great method for waste management, agricultural waste, or even things like manure. And it can be used as a soil amendment and has so many amazing properties and uses in the soil, which I'm definitely going to talk about more in future videos. I have so much to share on this topic. But even, throughout that whole time when I was studying soil and I was studying biochar, there was always the hyphae was there. Like, how is the hyphae interacting with the biochar? Or what is the hyphae doing in the soil ecosystem? And it was just always there. So I really honor hyphae as an archetype of, something that serves something greater than itself. So the hyphae serves the mycelium, which serves the soil and all the different plants. And the soil, it serves so many different types of purposes. It filters our water and it regulates emissions and it helps to grow our food and just so many beautiful, tangible and spiritual aspects to the soil and its role here on earth. And so yeah, the Hyphae archetype is really beautiful to me. So that's kind of the scientific lens a little bit there. And all of that really has influenced my work. So, ever since I graduated with a master's degree, I've been doing different kinds of consulting work and also working in mycology as well, doing educational things in mycology and different community and citizen science work through a nonprofit that I co founded. And it's just been a great experience. And all of this scientific lens really influences myself as an artist. So I have come over the years to practice different mediums as an artist, including film photography, poetry, and writing. And last year, I released my first EP, which I was really able to weave a lot of these different practices in and create something to offer to people, something that was really from my heart and something that felt authentic to me. And I am going to continue to do that as an artist in a lot of ways. So, Hyphae World, this science art nexus, it's my lens as a scientist and my experience continuing as an artist. And also, how a lot of these things are affected by and affect just my life experience and my journey. So, the science art nexus, that is a big part of Hyphae World. And I'm excited to share more with you. So if there's anything that you heard about in this video that you're especially curious about, drop me a comment. Let me know what it is, what type of questions that you would have for me. And otherwise, I'm just really looking forward to sharing some more nerdy and creative things here on this channel. So, thank you for tuning in, and I'll talk to you very soon. Peace.